Hello and welcome to the It's Your Effin' Journey podcast. My name is Melissa Hemming, and if a podcast host, if a life coach and a therapist had a baby, you would give me. I am so excited to share with you my adventure from this weekend, the Vermont Trail Ragnar, my very first Trail Ragnar, and I am blown away by the adventure and what I was able to accomplish and what my teammates were able to accomplish and just the whole experience. I just can't wait to share it all with you. I actually was so excited to share it with you. I started to record it on the drive home yesterday. It did not go too well. I kept losing service. I was so frustrated. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just do it tomorrow after I got a good night's sleep. And I did get a great night's sleep. So here I am ready to share it. I have so much. So without further ado, what time is it? Podcast time. It's a celebration. What time is it? Podcast time. So there's two different kinds of Ragnars. There is road Ragnars and there's trail Ragnars. I did my first road Ragnar in 2017. And there's big differences between the two Ragnars. So the road Ragnars, you're in vans. You are going from a point A to a point B with your team. So usually it looks like 12 runners in two different vans. And your van is where you stay during the road Ragnar. You change in there, you sleep in there, you eat in there, you get fucking crazy and silly with your teammates in there. You are, and a Ragnar is a relay race. So it's a team relay race. A trail Ragnar is different because you are sort of stationary and you go off and do your various legs for your team, just like you do during the road Ragnar, but there's no van. You're stationary. So, my road Ragnar that I did in 2017 was Cape Cod, or I think it was technically called New England, and it went from Hull, Mass, and it ended in Provincetown, Mass, on the Cape. Amazing, so much fun. And there's a lot of strategy with a road Ragnar. You've got to have enough food for the van, or snacks and stuff for the van. You've got to have all your clothes. You've got to have Ziploc bags to put in your sweaty clothes so they don't stink up the van as much as they would normally. It's a very different experience. Ragnar has stations set up like at various community centers or schools where you can get some food to eat. You can get some sleep if you bring a cot or a sleeping bag. And I loved my road Ragnar. I really did. My van was amazing. We created memories that I still think of them to this day when I hear certain songs. I loved it so much. But I also was sort of like, that was maybe a one and done for me. Like, I enjoyed it, and I think I just sort of want to keep it at that. I never did another Ragnar. So when I was running with my friend a couple months ago, he's really into Ragnar, and I don't know what exactly it's called, but there's some sort of accolade achievement that's wrapped around doing all the Ragnars in 1 year, and he did that either last year or the year before. I can't remember which one. So he's very experienced. And I was running with him a couple of months ago, and he said, would you like to join our team for the Trail Ragnar in Vermont? We'd love to have you on our team. And I was like, I don't run trails. I don't really like running in the dark. I don't know that I want to do a Trail Ragnar, but I have this rule that if something makes me nervous, I say yes, because that's where you grow. And I've had so many experiences and so many opportunities that I've said yes to have just totally transformed me. So I know better than to say no. If something makes me nervous, I say yes. So I said yes and wrote it in my calendar and sort of just progressed in my life. Didn't buy a trail running shoe or didn't buy any trail sneakers, didn't fucking run any trails, didn't run any trails at night, didn't really even think about what this would entail. I was focused on the mileage. I knew that I could do the mileage that was required of me with my team, and I was confident in that. So how the Ragnars work is, for a road Ragnar is different. The miles are broken up into various running distances. So let's say you're a marathon runner and you can handle a total weekend of 18 miles. Your runs might look like 8 miles, 7 miles, 3 miles. Let's say you're, a lower mileage runner, and you're comfortable with 9 miles. Your miles might be, I don't know, 2 and whatever. They break up differently, is my point. In a trail Ragnar, which I didn't realize till I got there, because the whole week before, when he told me what I was running a 2.9, a 4 point, no, a 2.9, a 5 miler, and a 7 miler. And I was like, oh, I could do that. And I was like, oh, he gave me such a good leg. And then I get to Trail Ragnar and I realize everyone runs the same fucking things. It's 3 trails in the woods. You're all running the same things. So I did. I got a little bit nervous, like, leading up to it. I didn't have trail shoes. I didn't really know what to expect. Now, my captain is Rick, or our captain was Rick, and he was just incredible with the planning. I didn't have to worry about anything because he knew everything. He's done this before. A lot of times, he's led teams before. They've done the Trail Ragnar in Vermont so many times. I think this was their 4th, they said, or 5th. So they knew this race in particular, and he knows how to be the best captain for Ragnar's. Like, I was blown away with all that he did, and his only concern for this weekend was for us to have a good time. He didn't care about pace. He didn't care about how fast we could go. He just wanted us to have fun, and his actions and words emphasized that the entire weekend. He just was like, are you having fun? Are you having a good time? What can I do to make this more fun for you? It was just such great vibes. And what was so nice for me is of some of the teammates are friends that I've had in running for years. And, Keith, for one, we did 169 together. We've had so many running adventures, him and his wife, and so many friends. And I don't see him a lot anymore. So it was so cool to be with him again. My friend Mike, I've been friends with for years, and he was on my first Road Ragnar team. We were in the van together, so I love him endlessly and was so happy to share this experience with him too. So yeah, just good times. Jane and Ed were there. They're married, and I love Jane. I'd never really got to know Ed before, so it was really fun to do that. And then we met a new friend named Kim. That was Mike's friend that he brought, and she was an amazing runner. She's actually training for Anchor Down, which was one of my favorite races. And that's really the only race that I've consistently done that has a trail component and a nighttime component too. And then Bonnie, if you listen to my London marathon recap, Bonnie is the angel that I ran into at mile 13 who totally helped me change my mindset for the race moving forward, because I was so miserable because it was sunny and hot, and she was like, this is my dad, he's here and he loved the sun. And I was like, oh my God, Bonnie, why are you the best? And she was the best this whole weekend too. I mean, she is a badass grandma, and she's just like, I want to be doing this shit as long as I can be. And she was so happy that, Rick also told her, like, we don't care about your pace. We just want you to have fun. And she is like a bright light of sunshine. And I just adore her. So that was our team of 8. So Trail Ragnar's, it's a team of 8 instead of a team of 12. And Rick had everything just so organized. So, okay, let's jump into the logistics of the weekend. So this was at a outdoor center in Vermont. And again, I knew nothing about what the trails actually looked like, nor did I ask. And I think I'm glad that I did not ask. I did not know what I was in for. And I think sometimes you just gotta, I know a lot of people before a race are like, is it hilly? That wasn't even a question here. Like, you were in a mountain climbing up mountains. It was all ridiculously hilly. Like, there was no, is it hilly? It was just like, how hilly is it? Even our walk from our hotel to the race start was hilly. Like, there was not there was not a straight road in Vermont. There's not. It's, if you've been to Vermont, it's the most beautiful state. I used to go there every year when my father-in-law had a house in Stowe, and since he sold it, we haven't been, and I just adore Vermont so much. So because they'd done this race before, they knew that the outdoor center where the race was held was right next to this resort that has suites. So part of our decision in doing this race is to stay at this suite, and we all share it, right? So we get to bring food, we get to come back after each one of our runs and take a shower, take a nap, eat some food. Did I say that? I love food. It was amazing. So now obviously road and trail is so different for Ragnar's, but my road Ragnar, you spent the entire weekend being disgusting, like disgusting and exhausted. I mean, we got a little bit of sleep one night sleeping on a floor of a community center, and you're there with a bunch of other Ragnar people, so it's loud. One of our teammates snored so much. It was just wild. We had a room. I shared a room with Bonnie and Kim, and it was, I can't even explain to you what a game changer it was to just, because you're sweating your fucking ass off in the woods, to come back and take a shower, make sure you get any ticks off of you, any bugs, and then go cheer on your teammates or have a quick bite or whatever you're gonna do. Amazing. So they got there Thursday night to sort of set up. I decided to drive up Friday morning. Our team was starting at 8 a.m. I wanted to be there for that, and it was only a 2-hour drive. So I woke up like 3:30, left at 4, and got up there at like 6:15 with all my stopping and peeing and all of that. So I got there, unloaded my stuff, got into our room, and we decided to walk over. Our captain, Rick, he was the first runner. So, and he had everything written down in terms of, so what he does is, when we decided to be on the team, he'll say to you, what is your pace for a 10K? That's what the question was. What is your road time for a 10K? I can't remember what time I gave him. I think 10:15. And so then it breaks it up into, okay, this is your time for a road 10K, which is this in a trail, which I should have taken a picture of that sheet because it was so interesting. So I can't remember what that transferred to. And then it gives you a idea of what your low end time would be on any given leg and what your high time would be on any given leg. So it gives you this like ballpark of like, okay, if she fucking crushes it on this trail, this could take her an hour and 15 minutes. And if she's on the higher end of her time, this is what it could look like. So it gives you some idea of like when your teammate's going to come back in, because you have to be ready at the station to run when they come in. So that was really cool. So I was runner number 5. So I was starting with the yellow trail. So I get there and we go up to the start to cheer Rick on, and it's so cute. They've got little stations, little tents. They've got pre-workout and post-workout and water stations, and big areas where you can take pictures with the Ragnar signs, and there's a place to make s'mores at night. Just all this setup, the team, a swag store. And we cheered Rick on, and he went off, and that was when we began. So after Rick was Keith, then Ed, then Jane, and then me. So shortly, I think I saw Keith go out, and then I just went back to change into my clothes for my first leg. It was very hot. It was very hot and very sunny on Saturday. Oh no, this is Friday. So I wore just a sports bra and shorts, and my first leg was the yellow trail, which was 5 miles. And so I'm like, okay, 5 miles. I can do 5 miles. Um, again, I still had no idea what was coming. Like I saw where the race started. I knew there was elevation. I just didn't quite know what that looked like. So, now again, I didn't really at this point pay attention to the information that was in that spreadsheet of like, okay, this is Melissa's time, this road time, trail time, this is her buffer of time, and this is what it should take. I didn't look at all of that for the first one. That was a mistake. So Jane comes in from her, I forget which one she did first. I went out for my first one. And you go, and they have the 3 trails broken down. So there's the green trail, which is the 2.9 milers. The yellow is the 5 miler, and the red is the 7 miler. So you just follow the little arrows up the fucking mountain. So the yellow trail begins, and you are going literally like it's like a zigzag like this up the fucking mountain. And that's what the red and the yellow trails did. The sun is beating down on you. It is hot as fuck, and you are going up this fucking mountain. So I immediately felt this like rush of disappointment. And it not in like, I just was like, what the fuck was I thinking? Why did I think that I could do this? Why did I not bring or get trail sneakers? Why am I doing this? I am basically hiking right now. I'm hiking. And I enjoy running, and I really don't often beat myself up about speed or pace. But when there is a team relying on you, it is so hard to get into that place of like, this is my run, this is my race, this is my pace, and I'm gonna own it. It's just way harder. So I immediately was just like, ugh, there are people relying on me, and I am sucking, or I feel like I'm sucking right now. So, and remember, the zigzags that are going up the mountain, they're just all uphill. They're going up the mountain into the woods. So you're getting like this really weird, like grassy nook area. And, but it was almost weird. Like you couldn't run on the grassy area. It was like pulling you to one side or the other. It was the strangest like terrain I'd ever run on. So you're running on the grass and you're running into the woods, and that's technical, pretty technical. So you're like, climbing over rocks and fucking stumps and all of that. So I just didn't, in the beginning of the Yellow Trail, I just couldn't find where I excelled. And I guess, so to compare that to Anchor Down is a 2 mile loop, and a 2.4 or 3 or 2, I don't know, whatever. And half of it is trail, half of it is road. So even if I sucked on the trails and had to take them a little bit slower, I knew the road was my jam. Here on the trails, I don't really have a place that I excel, right? Like I am just like, let me do what I can do when I can do it. So I immediately was just worried about my time and my pace and how fucking slow I was going. So I started to have a couple like good areas where I felt like I could run. Um, but I really was hot. It was so hot. I carried a blender bottle, which I don't really know why I did that. It just was ridiculous. And most of the time I was like carrying it in my arms like a baby. I'm like, this is really fucking stupid. Why, Melissa, do you make these decisions? So I made it through the Yellow Trail, and I was, again, really worried about my time and having fucked up the team's timeline. So I, at the end of at the Yellow Trail, you come through this like clearing into this field, and it literally feels like The Sound of Music, and I began to sing that. And you're the yellow trail, I didn't learn this till I did the red trail, but the yellow trail, it's like sort of zigzags you down the field, which isn't as fun as red at all. But at least I guess where I excelled was the grass. Like that was my kind of terrain. The grass was excellent. So I got down, and then, oh my God. So then we got to pass by our hotel, which was so cool. So there's like this little path in the woods, and you sort of pass our hotel. So we could sort of look for our teammates and cheer them on. And then once you go through that, you're almost back at the start. But there is a gigantor hill right near the end. So it sucks going up that. And then what's really cool is right before that gigantor hill, well, actually, quarter mile to when you get back to the start place, there is a timing mat, and it tells your team your girl or your boy is coming in, and your name comes up on a screen back at the start line for them, so that they're ready to go out when you come in. So that's kind of cool. So you step over that timing mat, and you know how I've always talked about timing mats at big races is like a signal to my people that, hey, I'm here, I'm still going. The timing mat there is like, hey, your person's coming in, so you sort of want to like hustle to get there too. But going up this gigantor hill is not easy. So I come back, and Bonnie is excited about, I got to check Bonnie out because she was the next person in line to me, and that was always excited. So she's like, you did awesome. And I was like, oh, thanks, Bonnie, go get it. So it was only, I think, starting at that point, I realized I didn't do as badly as I thought that I had. And then when I sort of talked to my teammates and understood the paper a little bit more about where I should be, I was on the lower end of where I needed to be. I just didn't understand how much wiggle room this, I don't even know what to call it, but it gave us a lot of wiggle room for where you needed to be and where you actually were. So I was fine, and I didn't mess anything up. And that gave me the confidence for the next two trails, because I just realized, okay, like, first of all, Rick has not budged. None of these people have budged an inch on the attitude of having a fun time. And two, it's not a big deal, right? Like, it's me. This is a me thing, and I understood that very early on. So, so then I got to chill. So I went right back. I went right back to take a shower. Took a shower, and I can't remember what I did. This was probably 1 o'clock ish. And I knew that I wasn't going to be running again until like 9:30, which I was excited. I really liked how my legs were set up. When he asked me like what I preferred, I just said, my strength is not running in the middle of the night in the dark in the woods. So I liked the timing of my legs. My 9:30 run was the green run, which is the shortest. And then the other part about the yellow was that it was under mileage. That was the most exciting part of all of these trails to me. They were all under what they said. So the yellow trail that was 5 miles actually clocked in at 4.6. And the green was 2.9 supposedly, but everyone was saying that they were clocking it at 2.62. So I meant 2.6, not 2.62 like a marathon. But so we hung out. We cheered our runners on. We got to charge our phones. I took so many videos and photos in my yellow loop that my phone was dead for some reason, even though it was on airplane mode. So I charged my phone, hung out in the hotel room. The hotel room was a game changer. Like, I can't imagine having a tent like, we were so sweaty that we were like dripping wet. Some runners, you couldn't tell if they had been caught in the rain because that's how sweaty they were. So I can't even imagine like running and then going to a tent and being that gross. Like, the way we did it was the best fucking way to do it with a hotel room. So, okay, this is something that happened. So I really wasn't in my head about the trail sneakers until Ed, one of my teammates, said that he fell last year because he was wearing road sneakers. Then that sort of got in my head. I didn't tell anybody though. I'm going to keep this to myself. I'm going to do the best I can. I understood why it would be important to have the trail sneakers because it gives you that level of confidence to hit any of the terrain just in a stronger, more confident way, I believe. But I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this and it's going to be fine. Well, me and Rick are sitting in the hotel room. I'm charging my phone, just hanging out. And this is when Bonnie was out. Bonnie was out running. She was doing her red loop, the longest one. And it starts shitting down rain, like shitting down rain. And this scared me because I had been on the yellow trail now. I knew what was to come with the other trails or what was potentially to come. And I knew if it's wet out there, I am fucked. I'm not going to be able to come downhill. I'm going to have to take everything way slower. I was scared. And so the rain probably lasted for like a good 10, 15 minutes and then luckily cleared up again. But I was really worried about the conditions out there and what it had done to the trails. So, but what was interesting is that when Bonnie came down, she was up so high, she never got rain. So the lower parts of the mountain got the rain, but not the higher parts of the mountain. So that made me feel a little bit better. We ordered pizza that night. We had a whole table of snack stuff to share. I brought the Drizzlicious, little delicious rice cakes from Costco, and they all love them. So that brought me joy to share a delicious treat. And then I had some pizza. This was at like, I don't even know, 7 o'clock. I got dressed. I wore shorts and a bra and a tank top this time. I wore a tank top just because I knew it was going to get a little bit dark. I don't know why. Who cares? I wore a fucking tank top. And I went up to the mountain. Now, the disappointing part is that they all were talking about all these activities that happened on the mountain the year before. Some game where you like ride a inflatable horse. I really wanted to do that. They never had it. It never happened. So I ate, got dressed for my leg, and went up to to the little, I guess it's called Athletes Village. Is that what they call it? So then Jane was doing her the 7 miler one, the red one. Jane she is a mountain goat. She is so strong. I mean, she's always been a strong runner that I've looked up to, but just like seeing her in action this weekend, it is unreal. Like she just flies she's just such a nice person. So anyways, green loop. Jane comes in, I go out. It is like almost dark, but not totally yet. And I head up into the fucking mountains of Vermont. I did not like this one. I was nervous about the dark. I was nervous about the rain. My friend Keith had told me, because he was runner number 2, and he his last leg was always the one I was about to do. So he like, just watch, there's a couple spots where there's like slippery rocks, there's a couple mud spots. So I just was aware, and I told everyone, like, I'm not dying here today. I don't want to fall. I've got a half marathon in 2 weeks. Like, I just am going to do the best that I can and have fun and not die. And so I needed a headlamp on this one. I don't like to wear a headlamp, so I kept my headlamp in my hands. Luckily, they were not picky about these things at all. And honestly, these runners that are all there they were badasses. Like, they were just, trail runners are just, I've said this before, they are a different type of beast, and it's just so impressive to watch them in action. But so the coolest part about the green loop was that it was short. So I knew, I'm like, I can do anything for 2.6 miles. That I can do. So I just had that in my head. I'm like, this is going to be my shortest one. I can do this. I can get back, get some rest for I was so nervous about the red one in the morning. I knew that a lot of it was the same trail as the yellow. I knew how hard the yellow one was, and I just was terrified. So anyway, I'm in the green loop, and my favorite part was the lightning bugs. The mountain was getting dark, and there was just hundreds of lightning bugs everywhere. It was just amazing to see. So then they had little lights to light up the trail for you. I did at some points, I'm like, am I on the trail anymore? Luckily, you didn't feel alone. I was a little bit nervous that I would lose my way. That was probably, in addition to falling once I got there, I think my biggest thing was like, am I going to lose the trail? And there were a couple of parts that I felt like I was not on the right place, but then a runner would come up and pass me, and I'd be like, okay, I guess I am doing this the right way. I guess I am following the trail. Um, and there was like two places where I almost took a spill in the mud. So I just would slow it down and try to get to the end. I could not wait to get to the end of that of that one. So I got to the end, handed it off to Bonnie, and went back to the room, took a shower, and decided to go to bed. So Kim was the last runner on our team, and she needed to get up at 11. So I'm like, let me hang out. I did a post, I did some storying on Instagram, and then I decided to go to bed once I made sure she was up at 11. So at that point, I went to bed at 11, and I woke up. I set the alarm for 4. The hard part is that you just don't know when your turn is going to be. You have a ballpark, but it really depends on how everybody does. And everybody was fucking crushing it. So we were running like ahead of schedule. I was supposed to start at like I think 6:18 in the morning. So, but we were ahead of schedule, which I was told that at night sometimes we can lose some steam, which we did end up losing some steam. So I set my alarm for 4, checked in with the group at that time. They said, they gave the info, and I sort of went back to sleep for a little while. Pooping was not an issue at all at this race. And I have to bring this up because pooping as a runner is usually the thing you're concerned about the most. I just kept consistently pooping. I don't know if it was eating so much or running so much or what was happening, but I was never waiting to poop, which is usually my concern, is like, when am I going to poop? I just was letting it go. So I guess my one concern for the morning one was like, should I have taken an Imodium? Because sometimes I'm like, if it's freely coming like that, you're like, oh, am I done, or is there more to come? So I didn't, though. I didn't take any Imodium. I had no stomach issues, no bathroom issues this whole time. So yay for that. Yay. We always celebrate that. So, okay. So I woke up, got dressed, and went up to the area up there to wait for Jane, who was doing something amazing, something fucking amazing. So went back up to the athletes thing, and I had to mentally tell myself that I was going to be okay, that I could do this. I had done the other trails, and this was the last piece of it. This was the last piece of it, and then I would have accomplished this amazing achievement. I was really at this point just like, and at this, so okay, and let me talk about my pace for the. I was not good at the green one either in terms of being speedy. I think I still came in the window, which was fine, but I sort of was hoping, all right, if I can slow it down for the green trail because it's dark, so I don't die and fall, I'll have the ability to have sunlight on my third leg, and I can hopefully stay inside my window and not screw my team up. So that was sort of I'm like, okay, especially if the red one is just hard going up, like if it's 7 miles and 3.5 are totally uphill, there's going to be some downhill, and I'll make it up that way. So at this point, I understood to look at that sheet to see what the early side for you would be, and the longer side would be for you to come in. My early, I don't even know what my early was. I just paid attention to the longest it should have taken me to do 7 miles in that terrain was an hour and 53 minutes. So I knew I should come in before an hour and 53 minutes and I would be fine. So I went up to the station. I had a little untapped lemon waffle for breakfast and some pre-workout. I was carrying it in a Poland Spring bottle, though, not a fucking blender bottle. I learned my lesson. And Jane, it was so nice because Jane, as I said, was married to Ed, and it was Rick, Keith, Ed, Jane, me. When Ed would finish his runs, he would go back to the hotel, shower, and come up to watch his wife come in. No. He sent her out. And yeah, he would come back to watch her come in. Yes, I'm right. And he had her, they have like a paid Strava account, so he could see her in the woods. So it was super helpful when he would do that because we didn't have to rely as much on the TV. I mean, we always did to know when she would check in at that point. But we knew when to go watch for the TV because Ed had her on his Strava. So we watched, and then he's like, all right, she's coming down that hill. Let's go, Melissa. So I set off for my last leg, the red loop of hell that I was dreading and just trying to get in the right mindset about. So the red loop starts. Now it is about 6:30 in the morning. So it's not sunny. So I was really happy about that. I knew that my yellow loop in the day was going to be the hardest because it was in the middle of the day, hot, sunny. Betty, hey, come here. So, Betty, so unprofessional, Betty. Like put your little earmuffs on. Betty. So this is Betty. Betty just would not stop. So okay. So I knew that the yellow loop would be the hardest. So this red loop, it was 6:30 in the morning. It was hot, but I didn't really realize how hot it was till I started running. It was still hot and humid, but there was no sun. So I'm like, I've done the hardest. I really legitimately felt like the yellow is the hardest. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I just kept saying that in my head because I was scared. So the red loop started and it did just what the yellow loop did. Just the zigzags up that fucking mountain. They're called switchbacks. I learned that from these trail runners. The switchbacks through the hill into the woods and then beyond. The red loop was relentless. I sort of had the same mentality that I had on the yellow. Like, I am hiking. I am on a hike right now. I didn't feel like a runner. I didn't feel like a trail runner. I was just like, I'm here for a hike. But I also know from running, and I follow this rule in road running or any running. If I am dying let me say this. If I'm running and I'm running the same pace as I would be walking, I'm just going to walk and give myself the ability to recover so that I can crush it later. And knowing that I had that window of the 1 hour and 53 minutes to finish this in, I also knew how the yellow one felt. I felt like I fucked up. I felt like I was at like a 20-minute mile pace. But I also knew that in the end it worked out because there were times that I could run and I could push myself. So I just had that in my mind. I'm like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. So, but I can't even tell you. It just, at times, it just feels like you are constantly climbing. You are constantly going up. It just feels like, how could I be going any further up this mountain? It just feels wild. So there were times that I was feeling like, I don't know that I can do this. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how long this is going to take. I just want it to be over. And And probably around the one thing that was good about this one is that I decided to listen to music this time. So I had my girl Taylor Swift, and that helped a whole lot. Probably around 3.5 miles, I was coming up a little baby hill and I saw a woman. And she was like sort of standing on the side, like leaned over, like hands on her legs. And I asked her if she was okay. And she said no. She said she was feeling lightheaded and just having a hard time catching her breath. So I said, let's walk together. And she said yes. And she was like, oh, thank you so much. And I introduced myself. I said, I'm Melissa. And she said, I'm Heather. And that to me meant that I was doing the right thing because my birth name is Heather. And I believe in numbers and signs and all of those things. But when she said Heather, I was like, okay, I'm going to help my girl Heather out because I'm Heather in some ways. And this was also wild because I started this adoption book when I was driving up to Ragnar, and this adoption book just blew my fucking mind. And I knew I was in the right place. I was doing the right thing. Um, sometimes it's like it's bigger than what you're accomplishing mileage wise or how fast you're going or you know sometimes it's just bigger. It's just bigger and you don't really understand it until later. So I started walking with Heather, and it's funny when you're trying to like uplift a runner and you don't know them at all. She doesn't know me. She doesn't know how fucking crazy I am. I don't know her. um and I didn't know, so I asked her a lot of questions because I'm like, is this your first? And this was not. She's not new to this. She had done like 6 Ragnars before, trail Ragnars. She did Zion. She said this one was harder than Zion, which sounds insane, but I believe it because it was fucking hard. So we talked, we walked, and she still struggled. She was really, really struggling. And she's like, I don't know why. I've never struggled this much. And, I just tried to be reassuring and comforting. We came across, and I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if she was struggling physically or mentally. It's so hard to decipher sometimes, even in your own body, like what is happening. Am I fucking myself up mentally, or is this a physical emergency? And it was hard for me helping her to know what it was. I don't know her at all. So maybe if I had known her, I'd know, like, okay, Heather just likes to get in her head sometimes. Like, let's encourage her to keep going. I don't know Heather. She had salt tablets. I asked her, I'm like, do you have anything on you? What typically helps you? She had salt tablets, but she didn't want to take it. I offered her a syrup. That was the other funny part. She was her team name was Skylines and Syrup. We had noticed it on the screen and were wondering what Skylines was. So when she told me her team name, I was like, oh my God, now I can find out and tell my team what's the Skyline for. It was for Cincinnati. She's from Ohio. So I said, I have syrup. Like, this is meant to be. Like, we should have a syrup together. But she didn't want to try a syrup. She didn't want to try a lot of things, which then later on, Bonnie was like, it sounds like heat stroke when you can't really make a decision. And I was like, that makes sense. So we got to this water station. There were 2 water stations on the Red Loop. We got to this water station and they had, jugs of water set out. And they actually had a walkie-talkie where you could call back to the base. And she was wondering if she should continue. And again, I didn't know her. So it was really hard for me to know what to do. So I just sat, but she was at this point at the table. She's like, do you mind if I sit down? She sat down. She kept thanking me for staying with her. But I'm on a team, right? Like, my team is waiting for me to get back so that we can continue. I knew that the longer it took for me to get back, the later the next person would go. And Kim, the later that she would start her final leg, and she was doing the red one too, our last runner, the hotter it would be for her. So even as much as I felt like I was doing the right thing helping Heather, I was also really scared about how this could potentially impact my team. It's such a mind fuck when you're on a team, I swear to God. So, but it was perfect because there was the walkie-talkie there. So I said, Heather, do you want me to call you call for a ride for you. Because before we had reached this water stop, I'm like, it's 2 miles. You got this. You can do this. We'll walk it. We'll bring it home together. We can do this. And at this point, I really thought, I'm like, we're almost 5 miles in. We can't go uphill anymore. There can't be any more uphill. We got to go down the mountain, right? Like that's inevitable. So I picked up the walkie-talkie. They had like a series of directions there where you turn up the volume, you hit the button on the side, and you say, water stop to headquarters. And I just never heard a response. But luckily, we were sitting at the water station, so there were runners coming, and they were asking, like, do you need help? So I would say to them, I'm like, when you get back, please tell them that someone here needs a ride. So we had 2 runners that we talked to that ran off and did that. And then a third runner came, and he's like, I might have service on his cell phone. But only like AT&T people had service. So he's like, I may have service. So he tried to see if he had service. He did not. But he's like, I might when I get to the field. Because remember that field, that magical field that yellow and red meet at, and then you go down. He's like, I might have it in the field. I will, if I do, I will call my captain and have him tell somebody that they need assistance up here. So I felt really good about that. And then I'm like, I have to leave. Like, I am now endangering my team's finish. So I felt terrible leaving her. But I had to do it, right? Like I had to do it. I knew she was in good hands. I knew that they were going to get the message to the people at headquarters. And I knew she seemed okay at that point, just sitting. And I went on my way. So I had some time to make up. I think this was like 1:35-ish. No, it was probably later. I think I was at like 1 hour and 40 or 45 minutes. So I had no time. I had to hit 2 miles in 20 minutes, or 2 miles and in less than 10 minutes. There was no way that I was going to do it. I knew no matter what, I was going to be over. So then I just was like, I hope my team isn't worried about me, right? Like they have now, said, okay, because I know how it is when you're back there. You're like, okay, this could take her the longest this time. So we'll be up there around this time to look for her. So I knew they were going to be like, she's on the later end of things. So I left Heather and honestly was so glad that we had left her there and that she had made that decision, because there was a monstrous hill that I don't know that she would have been able to get up before the field. And so and once I went up that hill, I'm like, this was the right call for her physically. I don't know that she could have done that. And honestly, I would have been really late even if I stayed with her walking anyways. So I think this was just it was just the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do to help her, and then it was also the right thing to do to leave her, and make sure that she had obviously the people coming to help her. So that fucking field, you come out, and again, it's like the hills are alive with the sound of music. Ah. Sorry, not sorry. That's what I felt like. And then the red fucking hill, or the red entrance to the field, is so much better than the yellows, because the yellow, when you get out into the field, you still have to do switchbacks. The red, you fucking fly like a bird, like a fucking bird. I think I was doing an 8:30 down. I was doing an 8:30 down, like, my team, I'm coming for ya. And I'm like running, and I'm like, oh my God, I should have asked my team what if they would support me helping someone on the course. Like, I hope they're okay. I hope everything's okay. I hope they're not worried about me. I just ran my little heart out and got to the bottom of the field. And then you still have a couple hills. You still have some more trails. You still have hard terrain. You still have that fucking monstrosity of a hill at the very end. And I just tried to be as fast as I could. I really did. I felt like my legs were so tired from going on up all the uphills, but I knew my team needed me to get my ass back to base. And I tried as hard as I could. I really, really did. And, I knew that we would be passing our hotel soon, but I didn't know if anyone would be out there, cheering. And I didn't even look. I just kept fucking running. And I heard Rick, our team captain, and he was like, "Go, Melissa!" And he's like, you know, "Congratulations on your first trail, Ragnar. You're killing it." And just like it was so special. And I knew that he knew I was late, right? Like he knew I was at the, over the time that it should have taken me, but he didn't care, He was just there to be supportive and again, have me have the best time that I could have had. And I just, who you do things with really matters. And I just was so grateful to be on that team. So I ran my little heart out. I walked that monstrosity of a hill. I don't think I could run up that even on a good day. And got back to Bonnie, who was a beam of sunshine again. And, I crossed over the line and I explained to my team what had happened and why I was held back. And everybody was really supportive and, glad that I had made the decisions that I had made. Oh, I forgot the best part. I was also really worried the whole time coming in about Heather and if someone had found her and if the runners who had said that they would send help, if they in fact had sent it. And I got up that monstrosity at the very fucking end and was about to turn the corner to go cross the finish line and reach Bonnie. And I see Heather, and she had been rescued, and she thanked me again, right before I hit the corner. So I knew she was okay. So that made it so much better too. Like the story had a happy ending. I don't know what happened. I had hoped to sort of reach out or run into her again, in the athlete village, but I never saw her again. So I hope I find her on social media or something. So if anybody knows Heather from Cincinnati who was on Team Skylines and Syrup, I'd love to touch base with her. But so yeah, so that was so nice. So I finished and I just was so happy to be done, and I just couldn't believe that I did that. I'm like, I came home yesterday. I woke up this morning. I'm like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe that I accomplished that. And I'm really glad that I said yes, and I'm really glad to never do one again. I think Ragnar, for me, for both of them, just might be a one and done. And I'm happy with that. But so yeah, so I finished. I told all my teammates. I did feel really bad. I had put everybody at least 20 minutes behind. And which was sort of amusing because after me was Bonnie, and she only had her tiny green one to do, and then Mike, and then Kim. So, and Mike, he was on my first Ragnar team, my road Ragnar, and I fucked up my road Ragnar. I was injured and I couldn't do my last lap or my last leg, and Mike picked up the slack for me. So I was sort of laughing to myself that Mike picked up my slack and this Ragnar too, because I'm like, somebody's got to make up the time, right? So I knew him and Kim are such strong runners that I'm like, I think it will still be fine. I felt terrible that, she was going out later because it did start to get even hotter and sunnier, as the time went on. But I went back, showered, packed up all my stuff. And then we went over to run Kim in. And I think we were supposed to stop at our team was supposed to end at like 11:49 a.m. I think she came in at like 12:05. So like they did amazing. Um I don't even know, no one had to make up the time necessarily, because again, the only objective was to have fun. The objective was to have fun and enjoy your time there, and everything else was just the icing on the cake. So once we saw that Kim was coming through the finish line, we all went over to where she'd be coming from and ran in with her, and got our medals. And the Ragnar medals are cool because they're right here. So one of them has this side where it's, the medal that you present, and then the other side is a puzzle. And all of the puzzle pieces make a giant medal to make a big message. So I think it said, "Make running a team sport." So really cool. My one and done trail Ragnar. Never fucking again, unless it's like a really tiny trail. But what an awesome experience and an awesome team, and I'm just so grateful that I was included and that I said yes. And again, if anyone knows Heather, send her my way. I'd love to chat with her. I wonder if it was heat stroke, because it made sense when Bonnie was saying, that she couldn't make a decision. Because I was sort of like, why isn't she trying other things? Like, why not the syrup? Your team name is Skylines and Syrup. You must like syrup, and we're in Vermont. But yeah. So hopefully you enjoy this story and this little recap. I know I've enjoyed sharing it. And my son is now making bagels in the kitchen. So I'm going to go and enjoy my Sunday. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. If you liked this episode, please do me a favor, take a screenshot, share it on your social media, send it to a friend. And thank you for being here. We'll see you next week.